Thank you for joining me on the couch today. I'm Minister Kim, and I'm your host. Today's topic is connecting the dots. My guest is Rebekha Askew-Morris. Everything that happens in our lives, and he uses it. Nothing, not one part. The bad things, the good things, the highs, the lows, he uses it all for his glory. Nothing is wasted. So let's bring her in on the couch right now. Joining me on the couch.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Yeah, I've already introduced you to our audience. Everyone, I'm just going to read a little bit because there's a lot to remember about Rebekha because she does so many wonderful things. But Rebekha created a women's empowerment group called Courage. She is a mother, a wife, an AKA daughter of a preacher. She holds a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in school and mental health counseling, and a master's in school building district leadership, and going for a PhD. She holds a great position within the Department of Education. She has a talk show, and she makes amazing inspirational t-shirts. I can go on and go on and go on, but I'll let Rebekha tell you about it. So, Rebekha, how has God connected all of your life's experiences to what you do now?
So my life experience, I think that as a whole, like my life experience has been like trials and tribulations. And just from early on as being a young mom at the age of 18 to now to going into marriage, becoming a wife, becoming a mother of three, and just all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through has connected me to a higher power. Like, for example, just being able to help people and support people because of all of the trials and tribulations that I've gone through, being able to support people and uplift them and help them to understand that this is your situation now. Doesn't mean that that's always going to be a situation, but always understanding that doesn't matter how many accolades that I have received or what I'm doing, that I have to give my blessings to God. So always connected back to God and how if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. As well as like just my parents and how they instilled so much of God into us, taking us to church. My dad is a preacher, like you just said, and just really really instilling in us that all things are possible with the help of God.
That is so true. And that's one of the things I love about God, that, you know, he's always there for us no matter what, you know, but you have a quote that you use, jump out on faith and do it. I hope I quoted you correctly. How did that quote come about?
So when I was, I just came out of a domestic violence shelter, and I moved to my first apartment. And it was an apartment that I really didn't want, but, you know, I'm like, you know, let me just take it and just start with it and just go, because I needed to make sure I started to build on my family, that my family was safe. And then when I wanted my dream apartment really came down after I've been waiting for like several years, one of my girlfriends said to me, so I had a Section 8 apartment when I came out of the shelter. And then when I was moving to a co-op building, and I'm like, well, how do I do, like, how can I afford both? And at the time I was a paraprofessional, and I was being uncomfortable with letting go Section 8. Being a paraprofessional, knowing that my journey was to become a school counselor. I was graduating that year from my master's. And she said to me, you know, sometimes you just gotta, don't let fear hit you and just go. Like, you know, do what you need to do. And God has you. You're gonna figure it out. So I went from now having one apartment to having 2 apartments as a paraprofessional educational assistant, paying 2 rents with 2 children at the time. And I'm like, I don't even honestly know. Like, I sit back thinking, like, I don't even know where the funds came from. But I was paying it because I was locked into that lease with the Section 8 department for an additional 2 years. And God got me and allowed me to do it. So that came from, you got to jump out on faith and just do it, you know, and if it's meant to be, like, God is going to support you throughout the way.
One of the things you were telling me when we were speaking the other day about the t-shirts that you make and how you change them up. You do, you come up with a word. What was it you were saying?
So it was I originally started How Courageous. So the name of my company is called Courageously Inspired. And how it came about is that I purchased all of these items during COVID for my son, he's going to be 26. So I purchased it for him because he wanted to build, like, he wanted to make t-shirts. And for me, it's like, whenever my children come to me with stuff and they're like, this is what they have a dream, a passion to do, I just like, you know what, just do it, jump out on faith and get it done. However, it was like sitting in my hallway for the longest. So I decided to, you know, open up the box. And I had I guess I want to say a family chat. I do have a family chat, but also had a inspirational chat with my 8 line sisters, where every morning I would send them a quote. And then from that quote, I created also Courageously Inspired on Facebook, where I will upload quotes every day. And then that transitioned to me like, you know what, how dope would it be to put this on a shirt, right? So you can make quotes on shirts and have, you know, things that are going to inspire people. So originally it started from that, just like, for example, last week I made a shirt called Courage. And the quote that I made up was like, courage to make the changes you can control. So whatever you can control, you know, you have the power with the help of God to change it, you know, to try to make it happen. So I said that each day or each week, so for 5 days, each week, I'm going to make a new shirt. The second one is ambitious, and coming up with a quote about ambitious. And every 5 days, I'm going to make a new word. So it stems from when I was a school counselor. And as a school counselor, part of my goal was to inspire and also to encourage youth that they can be whatever they want to be. If they have morals, they believe in God. And obviously in the DOE, you really can't talk that much about God. So it really was focused on morals and how do you put morals into action. So with that, I used to do a word of the month every month for children, just teaching them about different things, from respect to responsibility and how all of those things follow you throughout life. So with that, it stems from my background in school counseling, but also my helping ability to help people and uplift them. So all of that created Courageously Inspired when I try to figure out the name, and all of that came together to make Courageously Inspired.
And that's something amazing how God connects things. What are you passionate about now in your life? And did that passion stem from your past experiences?
So, yes. So I'm passionate about uplifting, encouraging women of color, as well as developing youth, and that's men and women, to become all that they can be. So I feel like any person, my mission is always anyone that comes in contact with me, I want to give them some type of gem so that they can continue to move on in their life. And just understanding that, hey, this is our story now, and we have an opportunity to change our own narrative. So how do we change our own narrative with the little gems that I might give you, or the gems that they have, and being able to meet them where they are? Because a lot of my life journey is really coaching, guiding, supporting, and it all connects to my background of counseling, my background in mental health counseling, and how my background in education, being an assistant teacher, as well as now leadership. So really coaching people to understand that they have to believe, you have to be able to believe in yourself. So I always want to meet folks where they are and then build up from that.
Everyone, when I was doing my my conferences, Rebekha had me on her radio show and gave me the opportunity to speak to the public. That was my first time. And she also came on the platform with me with the women's conference. And I was very nervous, and she just pulled me out, and it was very interesting. It is true that she does give you that opportunity. I really appreciate you for bringing me to your radio show, and it kind of like inspired me a little bit. I think about your show and I'm like, well, I how you had it set up and everything, trying to do mine the same way, kind of copy, and get some kind of organization. But would you mind giving a word of encouragement to our audience, something that will inspire people and to know that there's no wasted years or experiences?
So, yes. So I would say to the audience and to everyone who's listening is that whatever you put your mindset to, whatever you dream, those dreams become realities. Like we go to sleep at night and all of these dreams and our imagination comes into our mind, and we wake up and we like, oh, it's like that moment when you have a what do you call that, when you're like, oh, this I feel like this happened before, so it's like really digging in deeply, going back to your youth and thinking about your imagination as what your biggest dreams would have been, and moving with that and never giving up. What we learned more than ever these last couple of years is that you can be whatever you want to be, right? So we have we had a Black president, Obama, and now we have a Black assistant president, so we want to just say, make sure you are believing in yourself and know that you can be whatever you want to be. Imagination is the key.
That's right. Nothing can stop us. I thank you for coming on the couch today with me and our audience, and I hope you come back again. And invite me. Invite me to yours too.
Yes, we definitely will. I mean, we appreciate you coming on our show. Like, you inspired us as well, and just all of I just watch you, and I can't say watch you grow because you're already grown, but I admire you as well. Like starting from where you started to now, like being on the couch and just going out on faith, no matter what. Like, God tells you he answered your prayers, or you pray to God and he gives you what you want and you jump on it. And the one thing I always will remember is when you said to me, when God tells me that he wants me to charge people to come to my event, that is when I would charge. But for now, I want to do whatever I can to make sure I encourage people and continuing to come out. So I want to say to you that, like, that within itself is a passion for me, a passion for me to be where you are, and although you don't think that maybe I learned in life, and I'm like only, hold on, I forgot how old I am, but I'm not telling my age. But what I've learned is that people may watch you and they might not say anything, but they are glowing from the side. So I want to just publicly say to you, thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for inviting me to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. Thank you for joining me, everyone, on the couch. I hope to see you again. I'd like to leave you with a word from the Pastor Charles Stanley. He says, on this side of heaven, we may never understand how all things can work together for good for God's children. Though not all things we experience are in themselves pleasant or helpful, some of them are very painful. We are promised that God uses everything for our benefit. Therefore, we must have faith that he will turn our failures and hardships into opportunities for spiritual growth. And he took this from Jeremiah 29:11. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, there are no wasted years. God is going to connect all of the dots of your life. Everything is going to come together for you. Just keep your eyes focused on God and watch how he ties it all in together. Shalom.